Got my cup of coffee, so let's get started. What's up guys, welcome to another episode of Monster Review where we take a look at tech tips and how-to videos. Today I have the 2018 T-Mobile Personal CellSpot 4G LTE CellSpot system. Now if you're a T-Mobile customer, of course this is basically free. They do require a $25 deposit, but that's like nothing. Depending on the service rep that you get, you might be able to get it for free, meaning that they'll waive the $25 deposit. So shout out to my man Jonathan at my local T-Mobile store for setting me up with this CellSpot and waiving that $25 deposit fee. You're awesome, Jonathan. Signal at my house is really bad. Basically, here's my phone, and as you can see, the signal strength is very poor. It's at negative 105 dBm. Signal strength should always be a low number, not such a high number. Lower the better. But anyway, this is before the CellSpot installation. This is what my normal cell signal is usually at, negative 124. So let's go ahead and see if this CellSpot makes a difference. But of course, before we go into that, what do we get in the box? Well, let's find out. So upon opening the box here, you get a quick start guide. You have a Federal Communications Commission statement, and then you have the CellSpot. Now I should mention that I had the older CellSpot a while back, maybe like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I can't say that CellSpot actually worked. It wasn't the best. It was a range booster, and it didn't really work. I didn't see an improvement in my signal. I also did have the T-Mobile Asus router. That worked really well. It didn't really do anything special. It just prioritized Wi-Fi calling on your T-Mobile phone. That's all it basically did. But it did a pretty decent job. You're not going to be able to use this as a router like you could with the T-Mobile Asus branded router. With that router, you could have replaced your cheap router at home, and you could use it to connect all your devices. You can't do that with this. This is strictly for your T-Mobile devices. You can't really connect anything else to it. It's not a a dedicated router. It's basically just a range booster. But anyway, in the box we have the CellSpot here. Open up the bag here. And okay, so you have the power, you have the WAN. This is where you're going to plug the CellSpot into your router, and then any other device that needs to be plugged into a router, you can go ahead and just plug it into this LAN port. Front of the device, power, internet status, GPS, 3G, 4G, and 4G LTE. And this is the power adapter. And then we have an Ethernet cable. That's all there is to it. Oh, I'm sorry. And last but not least, we have the antenna. So basically, this plugs into your router, plugs into the wall, and then this, you're gonna run it somewhere where it can pick up at least 1 bar of T-Mobile signal, and then it's going to boost that signal. So this is everything you get in the box. Okay, so I do have some questions about this CellSpot. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure some stuff out. Okay, so only one device could be used per address, all right? While multiple devices can be in the same general area at different addresses, they do not work together. It's not available to prepaid customers. It provides a dedicated LTE connection in a home, delivers uncongested network capacity and an improved 3G, 4G, UMTS, and 4G LTE voice and data performance. It supports up to 16 users, 8 on 4G LTE and 8 on 3G 4G UMTS. Here we go, this is a big question I had. So it turns out that any T-Mobile customer within range can access this connection and it cannot be blocked. So if my neighbor has T-Mobile and they're having spotty connection and I installed it in my house, they will also see an increase in their signal. So it's not just me and my devices. Also, if I have family members coming over that have T-Mobile, they will also be able to benefit from my 4G CellSpot. So that was a big question I had, whether it just affected my T-Mobile phones or it affected any T-Mobile customer. But it says here it can support up to 16 users, 8 on 4G and 8 on 3G 4G UMTS. So the CellSpot covers an average of 3,000 square feet. That's really good. Frequently asked questions list here, but this was my biggest question. If installing this CellSpot, will it just help me or will it help other T-Mobile customers that are within range? So that answers that. Now this 4G LTE CellSpot is a whole different animal. It has more similarities with the range booster, meaning that it takes 4G, it takes your T-Mobile signal and it boosts it. But what it also does is it connects to the internet and also gathers data from the internet to make this into your own personal T-Mobile tower at home. So it's kind of a blend between the two. You won't be able to use this as a router, so if you plan on getting this and you're going to replace your current home router with this, you can't do that. It's not a Asus branded router. It's just a CellSpot. It's just meant to boost your 4G LTE connection, your cell signal, those kind of things. That's all it's basically meant to do. It's supposed to work alongside your home router. Let's take one last look at my signal strength, which is now at negative 113 dBm. And so this is the last look. We're going to look at the signal strength before I install this CellSpot, and then we'll take a look back at that signal. Oh, here we go. We got negative 124. It's back to where we originally were. So now let's go ahead and install the CellSpot and see how the signal increases. Okay, so here is my master bedroom closet / media closet. This particular area right here, this is where I will be installing the 4G CellSpot. Okay, so installation is done. Everything is set up, it's plugged in. Basically what I did was I took the GPS antenna and I put it through the ceiling and up in the attic and hung it up high in the attic. So it's roughly about 25 feet up in the air, and the instruction doesn't say to install it like that, but with GPS signal you want minimum obstruction, so that's why I did it this way. I think the instructions just calls for you to attach it to a window or something like that. So let's go ahead and give this 2 hours to go ahead and boot up and upgrade and all that good stuff, and then we'll return and take a look at the results. Alright, so I got a text saying that the installation and setup was successful on my CellSpot 4G LTE. So I came in here and all lights are on. So let's go back to the workstation and take a look at the signal. Alright, so here we are in the workstation, and as you can see, signal strength, it is now at negative 96. Remember, before the CellSpot we were getting negative 125, I believe, but now we're down to negative 91, negative 96, might even drop further. But look at this, look at the cell bar at the top, that's full. So yes, we are getting an increase in signal, And I actually ran a test. I had my wife call somebody, and she walked around the house, which was something that we could not do in the past. In the past, when you would walk around the house while on the phone, you would lose connection. There was only one spot in the entire house you can stay and talk, which was the kitchen. If you moved out of the kitchen, the call would drop. She was able to walk around the entire house talking to the same person without the call dropping. And she was maintaining full bars throughout the entire house. So here's another interesting observation I made. So you see here under cellular network type how it says wireless local area network. Well, that's not necessarily a good thing. That's basically saying that the phone is using my Wi-Fi connection to make and receive calls because the cell signal is too weak for the phone to make calls on. So it's using Wi-Fi calling. And see how it jumps between Wi-Fi calling and LTE? Yeah, that's basically telling me that the signal is very weak, and it doesn't know whether to use the Wi-Fi calling or LTE connection. Now take a look at the phone after installing the CellSpot. As you look at cellular network type, you can see that there's a stable and solid LTE connection. It doesn't fluctuate between wireless local area network and LTE. It stays on LTE. That's what we want. That's what helps me verify that this CellSpot, this 4G LTE CellSpot really does work because it's able to maintain a solid LTE connection. So yeah, this thing actually works. So the personal 4G LTE CellSpot really does work. If you're having some signal issues in your home, I definitely recommend picking this up. Thanks for watching this review. Hope I was helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you found this video helpful. Thumbs down works also if you did not find it helpful. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great one.